Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Phoenix Phenomenon. I'm your host, Ghostwriter Roxanne McCarty-O'Kane, and this show is all about uncovering the journeys that authors go on to create the amazing books that you know and love. So today I have with me Leon Stensholm. So welcome, Leon.
Thank you so much, Roxy, for having me. Really appreciate it.
Not a problem at all. So I'll do the obligatory bio if you're happy to stand by for a second.
Yes.
Excellent. So Leon started natural bodybuilding in 2001 after suffering a number of injuries that would end his promising soccer career at the time. Leon has since made multiple Australian and Australasian title wins to his name and has competed over 65 times, coached hundreds of clients with over 100 first places and multiple pro cards awarded. Leon is a coach, counsellor, author, speaker, and gym owner. He's running the full gamut there.
Yeah.
As you'll hear more today about from the man himself, Leon was spurred to action following the loss of a number of people close to him in his life and has established Body by Leon coaching and personal training, which has a private gym specifically for people with mental illness and anxiety. And his book, which we're here to talk about as well today, is called It's How You Think, and it shares a lot of his personal journey as well as helping to uplift readers with positivity as well. So I hope I did you some justice there, Leon. You've had a lot of
and some. Everyone says I've got a really big head. I think you've just made it bigger, Roxy. No, thank you so much. That's I much respect that. That was very well said. Thank you.
Excellent.
Very humble.
So I'd love, so that we don't keep our viewers and listeners on edge too long, I'd love for you to share a little bit about It's How You Think and the background that led you to writing your piece.
Yeah, it's funny because I was actually a super quiet kid, shy kid, and my academic levels at school were very poor. My writing skills were actually very, very subpar, even up until my 18 months ago. I never really put too many sentences together. And it's funny how, and I just got thrown the idea to write a book, and I was getting some coaching at the time. And when the idea got thrown up there, I'm like, dude, I don't even speak that well. I can't even write. How am I going to write a book? And he goes, Leon, you have a crazy story. And I thought about it for a second. I'm like, well, actually, yeah, it is a crazy story. So yeah, okay, well, I'll think about it. And I thought about it for about 59 seconds, and I rang him back and said, mate, I'm going to do this thing. So all of a sudden, then I just went straight home and just started writing. And I don't know where all this stuff come from. And I never knew that I had all this stuff in my mind. But over the course of I lost a brother to suicide, say 8 years ago. And then a couple of years after that, unfortunately, I lost a very, very close client to suicide. And then I'd come home from that funeral, and then the very next day I lost another close client as well through suicide as well, and that rocked me. And then straight after that, I was helping another individual that was a close friend of mine that was suicidal as well. She just got out of intensive care for a number of suicide attempts, and so I just thought, well, I can't have another friend, take their life. Oh, this is taking its toll. So I actually almost spent 6 months almost living with this lady to prevent her. She lived on her own, prevent her from taking her life. She had 4 young kids, etc. So I just got really caught up in I just got to stop this suicide epidemic. I call it an epidemic because it seemed like that at the moment, and around that was just around me, and obviously everyone else has experienced so much trauma through suicide as well. So then my heart's just gone, this has got to change. And I've been talking about it for the last couple of years, but since those 3-4 incidents there, I just took everything, Roxy, to another level. And I just live and breathe it. And to the point where I actually realized that there is no gyms, there's no facilities where people can train, exercise, and just be themselves, Roxy. So what I found that I thought, if I can build a gym, that it's a big gym here that I have here, and it's only one-on-one, it's not open to the public. And people come in here and they say, this is an amazing facility. Where's the members? There's no members, mate. They're like, well, how do you make a living out of it? I said, I just work goddamn hard to make it happen. But it's not about that. For me, it's never been about money. It's not, my life's never been around that. It's about what's in there. So I built this gym just based on a one-on-one with individuals, and it's amazing what they told me, because this is how I learned everything about people really need and what people really want and what people really need to hear. So people started opening up and telling me, you know, that was suicidal, that in a gym, yeah, there's a busy environment, there's people around, Roxy. So people actually wouldn't, you know, open up. But the facility here, that's when people started opening up. And that's when I found out within myself, the suicide rate and the suicidal thoughts of people were now decreasing because of the time I put into people. So then I realized that I had to invest more time into people. So this carried on. Then I just started attracting more people that were suicidal. And then all of a sudden they started suicidal, mental illness and high anxiety. And then I would do the psychology, I'd work on the psychology of them. And then I would train them up. And next minute, you know, then they're going on stages and they're doing bodybuilding shows, fitness shows, bikini shows. And they weren't just going on stage. They were actually, I was actually giving them a purpose and a goal. And they were going on to be, you know, state champions, Australian champions, world champions, Olympic champions. I'm just going, this is amazing. This is amazing what you can do when you get in somebody's mind and you believe in them. And that's what I found, Roxy, that all these people wanted was someone to connect to and go, you know what, this guy believes in me. And then I just thought, this is a remarkable story. Then I just threw it all in a book. And then I just couldn't stop writing. And I literally, there was about 50 pages that didn't get in the book that I would have liked to go in the book. That the story just didn't roll from it. But that's why I've gone on to book number 2, which is actually almost completely different. But that's where it all come above. The story is crazy. And the stories that I do have, it almost seems like you just got to tell them the truth. You know what I mean? Because they are very out of left field story. And I couldn't go into depth in some of the stories in the book. I just had to touch on them just because of the welfare of the individual as well. So it's so that's where it all sort of come from. Crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that you are, you know, obviously a very positive person. You've got a very excellent outlook on all aspects of life.
Thank you.
But I did want to ask you, you know, after going through, you know, all of that loss and, you know, living with your female friend to help her through that period of time, like, you know, that was all kind of bang, bang, bang lined up for you. What sort of a personal toll did that take on you? So much devastation.
Yeah, massive. I guess at the time when I was just running on adrenaline and running on so much enthusiasm in the way that I've just got to keep going. And then when my brother passed and then when another client passed, I'm just going, I don't have time to sit down and think about this or dwell on it. I need to now help the next person because there was no stop. There was no grieving time because people just sort of kept coming. And I just thought, well, I've just got to keep going. I don't have an option. Everyone around me is crumbling. So sometimes a leader has to stand up. So I did keep going, Roxy, and I thought I was invincible at this point of time. Okay, so did it take its toll? Absolutely. And I had never actually told anyone this until I actually wrote the book. And unfortunately, I had to give the book to my parents to read it before it actually got out. And I said, look, you're going to love the book, but you may not like what's happening on page X page because there's something in there that I have never disclosed to anyone. So just quickly, yes, it took its toll and it broke me. It did break me to the point where, yeah, I did take off and I'd gone down the coast and had some terrible thoughts in my mind. Everyone was just falling apart around me when I just kept going and I felt like I had no help from anywhere. There didn't seem to be that. And that wasn't the case. There are a lot of amazing people doing amazing work. I just hadn't had the connections, which today I do have the connection. So back then I had just had my one-way blinkers on thinking I can do this myself. I can do this. There wasn't a lot of help, but this day it obviously has changed. So yeah, it took its toll to the point where it pushed me to suicidal thoughts as well. And it's the only time in my life that I'd ever been, you know, driven that far. But yeah, it did take its toll. So what I have learned, Roxy, from that, obviously, you know, gratitude and self-care, and that's what I'm building now for people to understand that, you know, there are ways that you can manage, you know, what I'm doing now. Today, I'm still doing exactly the same thing. And unfortunately, I have had, you know, close people pass away, but my resilience is higher. I learned the hard way by throwing myself in the deep end. So yes, I broke. Do I break today? I'm very hard to break today, only because I've spent as good part of 6 years working on myself. No one can step into my role and expect to take all this on and not be traumatized. You are going to be. I just did it because my heart just said, Leon, this is what you have to do. This is your purpose now. So yeah, I've just had to spend so many years really working on it. And that's what I advise a lot of people as well. I speak so often over the years I have about the self-care and things that I do. And I often get people, I'll say, Leon, it's easier for you. You know, you don't get how I'm feeling. And I completely understand that. You know, some people may have depression and stuff like that. And that I completely understand. So I'm not the doctor, I'm not the psychiatrist, but all I can give someone is the tools that I've learned. And if they implement them daily with whatever other medication or treatment they're getting on the side, then they can manage life as well. So, you know, you can only help someone. You can't help someone unless you help yourself first. So many people want to do this role, but the only ones that can really get in this role are the ones that really invest their time into themselves first, and then to start to help others.
Yeah, absolutely. And you were just lighting up when you were talking before about, you know, the success stories that you've had. So while there is obviously an element of, you know, of loss still in the role that you do, to see so many people go on to thrive, and, you know, like you said, it's not just physical fitness, it's giving them a purpose, it's fully changing the direction of their life. That must really, really light you up all the time.
Look, it does, and I guess, you know, I get very excited when I talk about the success that has come of it. Now, it's a great highlight reel, but again, what people don't see in the background is, you know, I've got to manage what goes on behind the scenes. Is not pretty. There's endless therapy. There's my phone's going all night, you know, trying to keep people alive and trying to get them to hang on for 5 hours. I'll see you in X amount of hours. There's also working with individuals that, you know, you see them once a week and all of a sudden they want to see you twice. So you see them twice, and then the third time you see them for free. Then the fourth time you see them for free. Then you see them 6 times a week and they want to see you 7 times a week for free. Then literally you run out of time in the day to help people. So you give a little bit, and sometimes some people just want a little bit more, and that's what breaks me. Is that you give and a bit more gets taken. So they're the parts that people don't see, no one talks about. I'm very open. I'm not a closed book, because the fact is that people are only going to change if they're aware of what's going on. But the other parts that break me, so you have amazing relationships with people, but it can change at the click of a finger, because people rely on you so much. So there's a really dark side to my job that I don't talk about, people don't see. It's not all the highlight reel, me standing there on top of the podium with a client that's won the Olympia. It is far from that. It's endless, Roxy. It's a 24/7 gig. You don't do this Monday to Friday 9 to 5 at all. You know, the Sunday nights, Saturday evenings, you can't go anywhere without having to manage someone. But I wouldn't change it at all.
Absolutely. No, I don't think that you would.
not at all. But like I said, I get tired. I do get tired. I do get run down. That is why I mentioned earlier, it's essential that I do sit back when I see the signs coming and keep my mind in a state or day that I'm ready to fire. So I don't get annoyed at someone that sent me a message that, you know, might need my help at the time, because that can happen often, or I can't just ignore a message.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no time to do that. So yeah, pressure's on me to stay at a high peak state, basically all day, every day. But it's a good challenge and I love it.
Awesome. Now, speaking of challenges, I'll bring you back to the book just temporarily. You mentioned as soon as you decided you were going to write, it literally, like, the words just fell out of you. But it sounds like, and let me know if you're comfortable with even going there, but it sounds like there were obviously some elements there you touched on where you were pouring your heart out and sharing some things that you had kept close to your chest for some time. I'd love to find out a bit more about sort of, how going on the book writing journey did, you know, maybe flick on some other switches or help you to have some other realizations about your life's journey.
Yeah, look, I guess, I've been asked that one quite a few times. It's such a great question. And for me, it was probably the only time I'd ever done therapy, because I had all this stuff in my mind. And once I put it on paper, well, sometimes it can bring up, you know, old wounds as well. But for me, it brought up some great memories as well. And it brought up all my triumphs. It brought up things that, wow, I'd actually forgotten about that when it happened. You know, I've had 4 knee reconstructions and 2 broken ankles and stuff like that. And here I am still playing soccer, you know, 20 years later. And so it brought up a lot of amazing things. So I just kept looking at the positive side of it. I didn't really sit in it and go, oh, God, this was so sad. This was a sad moment. This was hard. Yeah. Look, I acknowledged everything. It was important, Roxy, that I acknowledged it. and just keep taking every positive out of it. You know, whether someone might have passed whilst that was a sad moment, I'd turn it around and go, yeah, but I also spent 2 years with this individual, and I traveled around Australia with them, and we did amazing shows, and we had so many laughs, and gee, that was a lovely person. I'm God, I'm blessed, you know, the fact that I even met that person. So whilst it was great to write, it did bring up a lot of old wounds, but I just had to keep switching it around and just kept thinking about the great times. And I literally, Roxy, I could put my hand on my heart and go to bed to go, you know what? I did everything that I thought was possible at the time with the resources that I had. I have got more resources today. And so if I could turn back the clock, yes, when I was writing, I'm going, if only I knew, had the wisdom now that I, you know, may have had 3-4 years ago, I may have been able to change. But you and I know that's not going to fix the problem. That's not going to help. That's not going to help me. It's not going to help me. It's not going to change anything. But what I do is go, you know what? I'm going to learn from what happened with Dale, or happened with Ange, or happened with Dean. And I didn't do that at the time. And I put my hand up and go, yes, I take some responsibility because I'm a human being. I love taking responsibility for my actions. I do that because that's how I'm going to learn and not make that same mistake again. I don't push it aside. I never pushed anything aside and said, oh, you know, but they did it. It wasn't my fault. Well, you just don't go there. You just go, oh, gee, hindsight's a wonderful thing. If I could have done this at that specific time, I would have done that. However, I didn't. But what I'll ensure that next time I use these tools that I didn't use back then. So I'm trying to switch every positive around. Is it easy? No, it's not. It's not easy. But the brain, I understand. It learns on repetition. If you do something over and over and over again, it becomes automatic. It's like talking on a podcast or talking to people or talking about anything. For me, you do it so often, it just becomes automatic, and you just get a little bit better at it. So you just learn. For me, it's all learning. There's no manual how to save someone, you know, that's going through suicidal thoughts. There's things you can do, but there's no real manual to teach you young kids also on what to do. So for me, I like to teach everyone the mistakes that I've made, and I think that's very important as well. I've made many mistakes. I did a lot of things wrong, but I've learned from that, and they're the greatest tools that I can give to someone else, because I had to learn the hard way, you know, what it feels like to maybe think you did all you did at the time, but there was definitely more things that I could have done.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, even sharing the experience that you went through is enough to flick on some light switches for other people as well. Like you know, every little bit of information and connection with people always helps. So
it's true. And like I say, I wouldn't change my life for anything. Look, it's, you know, there's many people have had a lot more, you know, harsher lives than myself. But what I've learned today, for me, it's priceless. I've studied a lot. I do a lot of reading. I self-educate a lot. And I learn X amount, but you learn most of it in the field, in the real world. You know, there's suicide letters that I have that they honestly, Roxy, to read them, they just break your heart. Like you just read them and you just want to break down, and you just go, oh, God, these people, they are just hurting. They don't not want to be here. They don't want to take their life. They don't want to feel this way. You know, Roxy, all they want to do is be happy. And they just can't get there, you know. It's super sad to even read it. And but again, I've learned just from reading and getting straight from the horse's mouth. This is what we need, Leon. Thank you. And always be open and honest. And at times I haven't given them what they need, and I just haven't. But I only learn because they tell me straight out. So okay, cool. No, I wasn't doing this, and I obviously didn't do that years ago. So it's all just a big learning curve, and, you know, I'm going to just continue to learn more as the time goes on.
Absolutely. And I have been curious to ask you, what was your parents' reaction to the ex-cage story that you pointed out for them? And because I know, and with working with a lot of people as a ghostwriter, you know, a lot of their top concerns revolve around what are my parents or what are my family going to think about some of these things that I want to share. So, yeah, you don't have to get too specific because obviously we want people to read the book. But yeah, what was it like for you to kind of navigate that particular hurdle with releasing your book?
I think Mum rang me straight away, and she goes, how could you feel that way? Like, you're always happy. I wouldn't imagine you could feel that way. And I said, Mum, well, I guess that's lesson number one, isn't it? You know, you never really know what someone's going through. Yeah. And it's very important. And look, people can ask me, Leon, how you are? I'm fantastic. You know, I'm just like the next person. I'm going to just say that. But at the time, you know, what I've learned now is that you could tell that I wasn't fantastic. It wasn't hard to understand that I wasn't fantastic. My tone, my persona, I was tired. I hadn't slept. I was a little bit moody, a little bit short with people. So what I've learned today is that you can, you know, you can help someone if your observation skills improve and you work on them. You'll understand by someone's tone of the voice, the way that they walk, their eye contacts, you know, their body language, their physiology, that how someone's actually going. So I told Mum, I've been crumbling for 3 months. I said, I was around everyone, no one picked it up. I said, so what that taught me was, you know, no one around me has any physiology identification skills of individuals. So I need to teach people that now.
Yeah.
So yeah, she was devastated and shocked, and it hurt her really bad, to be honest, because she's still grieving to this day with losing a son, my brother. And Dad was just, you know, you're an idiot. Like, please, how could you even think like that? Please come to me next time.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, look, sorry, Dad. It was a moment of madness. And that's the scary thing, is that even the bravest, the toughest, the strongest can be vulnerable for a minute.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was me. I was vulnerable for a minute, you know what I mean? And it nearly was a very costly minute. So good thing, you know, just happy that things didn't go that way. But yeah, like it's even a touchy subject for me to chat about, as you could probably tell. Like it's never been me. And for me to actually even think about that after my parents have just gone through something, you know, similar. Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed in myself, but only for a very, very short time I realized that I have to move on from this. You know what I mean? It's most humans at some point have probably had some sort of thoughts there and there. And I just got to ensure that I learn from that, and I make sure that I never get in that predicament again. We're ensuring that I'm working on myself. And if things aren't going well, go seek help. Don't be afraid to go speak to a psychologist, a counselor, a psychiatrist, whatever is your chosen, a friend, somebody, you know what I mean? But now to this day, I understand a lot about, you know, self-care and spending time on my own. I love playing my guitar, just simple walks. I love surfing. All these things are just amazing for my soul and my head. So I've learned that they keep me in a peak state more often than not. I'm not going to say every single day. We're all human. We all wake up tired. I wake up tired too. You know, Roxy, you might sound like I'm not sometimes, but I do get tired, and I am a human being, and I do break like the next person.
Absolutely.
I just don't break as long.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
because I use all the tools that I have. So we're all going to break. It depends how long you're going to be down for. I think that's pretty important that people understand. And that's when I talk about self-care, gratitude, etc. Doing these things, the sad thing about them is people don't do them because they don't see any instant gratification, Roxy. They don't see a $100 note there. Wow, I've just done that, or this is my time, it's valuable. There's nothing that comes of it. So that's what I found is so important, that people got to do that, because it actually puts you in a prime state for when society throws you curveballs like now.
From you, obviously your book has been out for a while now, and it was got into the hands of a lot of people who needed to hear its messages. What's it been like for you to see the life that this book has taken on, and how it's been able to reach and help the people you were hoping to connect with?
Yeah, it's funny because when I first wrote it, I was very uncomfortable. Not in the writing process. I felt pretty cool about writing it, because I actually liked what I wrote. But I felt very uncomfortable when it went in the hands of other people. One, because I at that point in time, I didn't focus on telling a story. I didn't focus on telling my story. That wasn't my objective. My objective has always just been to spend time into everyone else. Just give whatever's required to people to keep them alive. So I was never interested in voicing my opinion or writing a book for any fame or to be a millionaire. It was more, I just felt very uncomfortable, if I'll be very blatantly honest. And because I'd come from my background of, just being a tradesman, then I got into, just being a trainer. And then it's kind of like being an accidental hero, Roxy. I'd never meant to be into this position. So for me, I always remain very humble. I have a very humble upbringing as well. So for me, the book was solely just to, was almost for myself and to try to help whatever people I can. And then it just actually took off pretty well, and people thought it was amazing, and the story was really great. So yeah, so until this day, I felt uncomfortable until today, until about 3 months ago, when I just go, you know what? No, that was it. But I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages sitting in my head ready to go for something else. And so for me, I just go, you know what? This was my starting point. It's great. It's a great story, and there's a great education there. But now I'm going to take it to a whole nother level, just on the psychology side of what I've learned with how can I actually now truly save people. There were words of wisdom in there. There was tools that people can use tomorrow, today. There's stories of resilience, how to overcome adversity. So there's the great stuff in there that someone can utilize now, especially going through the, hard times we're all going through now. But now moving on now, it's going to take it just to a whole nother level. So for me, it's like anything. It's a great stepping stone. And I'm proud of it, and the response from it has been like 100%. I haven't had any negative from it, so it's changed a lot of people's lives.
I think passion is a core ingredient too. Like if you're driven by passion and you know that this is going to, make a difference in even one person's life, I find that's one of the best motivators there is.
I think you nailed it. I think that's just the key word. I just love it. And I always say passion. And I always have this saying where I say, you know what, you can't fake passion, because one day someone's going to come along and have passion and going to make you look like an idiot. And I always say that to people. I say, it's something you can't fake. You can't walk into my role. I can't fake what I do. I can't. If people meet me, they'll realize you're exactly the same. You can be on the radio, Facebook, or a video. They meet me in person. It's just exactly the same person. Because you're just as enthusiastic, whether you're talking to someone on Zoom or on the phone. I'm the same. I ramble on, whether it's meeting you face to face. Yeah, passion is for me the number one thing, because if you haven't got that, you're always going to be missing something, and your message will come across maybe unauthentic. But when you're passionate about it, it just naturally comes across, and people believe you. I think that's in my role. It's for me to connect with people and help people. I've got to have them trust me and have that connection. I don't think that comes from being authentic and being passionate about what you do. Truly passionate, not just throwing the word out there. There's a difference. It's easy to say, I'm passionate about this. I don't think you learn passion, honestly, till years down the track. I don't think it's something that you can't just be 21 years old and go, I'm passionate about this. You've got to really live and breathe and experience so many things. And then all of a sudden you've done 100 things and you just go, this is just me, man. This is just what I do. It just comes naturally, and it gives me my purpose of waking up and seeing that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's amazing. And I know that you've already said, money and making money out of a book was never a driver for you. But I would like to ask, has it helped you in your business side of things as well? Has it helped to connect you with more people who do need your help?
Oh, look, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely would say yes. And, everywhere you go, you're carrying the book with you. It's almost like your business card. And, yeah, look, absolutely. And the connections I've made is incredible. Like, it's amazing. Years ago, most of my friends would be, tradesmen. And they still are to this day. And the boys we drink with down the pub with. And today, a big core friends of mine are authors, just regular people. But what I've learned is that they've all got an amazing story. And so my connections in life have just gone another level. And that excites me, just knowing that, I'm around people that there actually are lots of people like me.
And you mentioned before you might like to give a few little tips perhaps on our call today about, how people can get to peak state, or how people can, maybe pump themselves up every morning to have a better day.
Yeah, sure. I guess what we were talking about just before our fair that we just stopped is that, look, I don't just work or walk straight into here or get out of bed and just go, I'm going to sit down. I'm just going to do this Zoom chat now. Otherwise, I'd be just, hi Roxy, good, cool. You know what I mean? Like, everything I do, and it could be going into work, and it could be going to the shops. It could be going for a surf. It could be get ready for training. It could be doing a Zoom chat, phone chat, whatever it is. I'm priming myself. Like, I'll just sit out there and play a song that'll just come to my mind. And people think I'm nuts, and I'm going, well, try it, man. It's amazing. I'm just getting in my mind. I'm just getting my endorphins flowing naturally. That's all I'm doing. Like the feeling you get when you exercise, but I'm getting that 10 times a day. And all I'm doing is getting myself in a peak state, play music. I have a guitar always that sits right next to me. I could just drum the guitar for 1 minute. You know what I mean? Again, as people think I'm a bit weird, but I might just find a line that comes out of that just goes, I love that. I love that. Now I've got something to chat about, and everything rolls on from there. And getting yourself in a peak state, everyone's different. It depends on what everyone likes, and what I do is not what everyone else is going to do. Someone could be just be walking in the morning. It could be waking up, watching the sunrise. It could be watching the sunset. It could be watching the stars at night time. It could be just going for a walk, walking the dog, hanging with the dog, playing music, listening to music, singing. All these things, they make us happy. So the key is to find all these things that make you happy. And I remember 6 months ago, I think I've just jinxed my clientele, because what I said was, look, a lot of them, all they know is the gym. And that's great. They live and they breathe it. Their friends are there. And I think that's fantastic. And they've got a lot of connections there. But what I said, look, you need hobbies outside the gym, because the gym one day is not going to be there. Yeah, it's always going to be there. I know. And now all of a sudden, the gym is gone. And I'm like, whoops, God, I didn't ask for that. All right. But anyway, it is what it is. But now, half of them, well, what do I do now? Well, you can actually go spend time with your family. Remember that people at home, that around you, and remember that daughter and the son that you got that you may not spend all that time with. Take them down the park. Go take the soccer ball. Go take the frisbee. Remember the frisbee. Go get a tennis ball. Throw the ball with a dog. Go walk as a family. You know what I mean? With it being your social distancing, of course. But there's all these things that you can do that make you happy. And when you get in a happy, obviously you're in a big happier state. This is what leads your day. And writing gratitude in the morning, waking up, just writing down 3, 4, 5 things that you're grateful for. Grateful is a word that people throw out there. But, at the end of the day, if you are truly grateful in your heart, and I mean truly grateful that you are, the chances of you having depression and high anxiety is slim. It's actually lowered. So it's scientifically proven that, that the being grateful, has science effects on it, that you actually can be in a way better state than someone else, that you almost can overcome depression. So it's almost like a natural antidepressant. And that's just what science says. That's why just writing down simple things. I'm not talking about write down about a car and a house and this and that. I'm not talking about them cosmetic things, materialistic things. I'm talking about, I'd come in the morning and I'd walk in and just go, oh my God, how the sun looked amazing this morning. Or here's this nice cool breeze. We haven't got the humidity now. This feels beautiful. It's lovely. And or it could have just been the dog come and sat on your lap and, oh, this is cool. Or your daughter come and gave you a beautiful kiss in the morning that she hadn't done all week. And you go, well, that's a great moment. I'm going to write that down. And just the very, very simple things, because it actually does change our brain waves in our mind. And like I said, the brain works repetition. So once you give it something great, guess what? It wants something else again. And you always say, you got to watch out what you tell your brain too, because I said it learns repetitions. If you keep telling yourself you're no good, you're not worthy, guess what your brain thinks? It starts believing you. If you start giving it more positivity and all these great things, it wants more. So the next day, guess what? You give it more. Then after the repetition, after doing it 10 times, your mind just wakes up in the morning and all of a sudden just switches straight into that positivity. That's how it actually works. And that's actually proven to work. These things do work, but most people are not doing them because they do them. They go, oh, well, it's not working. It was like, mate, you've got to put your heart in it when you do it too. You can't just go, well, I'll do my gratitude now because Leon said to do it, so I'm just going to write things down. You can't just do that. You've actually got to sit there and I'll smile when I do it. Like I'll sit there and I'll smile and I'll write down. I'm grateful for my wife, my daughter, my dog. I'm grateful for my gym. I'm grateful for my studio. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak to Roxy today. Little things like this, it's amazing. And when you do it, it's hard to not smile because these are all things that make you happy. And just doing these simple things, life's simple. I'm simple. I'm the most simple guy you'll ever meet. I don't complex things. I can talk very scientific. I can talk highly intelligent, but that's not going to help my audience that have depression or suicidal thoughts. I need to keep things simple. So for me to get a whole manual or a whole book and digest the whole thing into very simple methods, that's what I do. And that's why a lot of people like stuff that I made right or might put out on social media, because it is very simple, because simple works. But simple is almost too simple for people, so they don't want to do it. Yeah. And any great footy team out there, any great sporting team, I guarantee they got what's their style of play. It'll be simple. Just don't make mistakes. So don't get fancy. Just don't make mistakes. A game of tennis, whoever has the least unforced errors probably going to win. Yeah, I mean, you're just getting in a rally. That's it. So I run life like that, and it's so powerful. And I think people got to understand that. Just simplify your life. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated. And just be consistent. Be more consistent and simplify things and just persist, and it'll go a long way.
Absolutely. No, that's wonderful. And the whole time you've been talking, I'm thinking it's how you think, it's how you think. So that you nailed that book title, didn't you?
That's the whole book. There, every event that happened, I could sit in the moment, okay, or I could actually turn it around and look about and go, okay, well, it's going to be how I think. It's going to be, well, I can look at it this way, or look at it this way. If I look at it this way, is this going to help me? No, well, I'll look at it that way. You know, I mean, if you have a little car accident and unfortunately someone hits you and everyone's okay and you get out of the vehicle and you can do one or two things. You get out and you yell and scream and carry on and you go, well, is that going to help you? No. You can get out and ask them how they are first and then just exchange details and move forward from it. That's probably going to be the better approach. So I have this little tool that I always ask questions first before you, and then it happens. Is me behaving this way? Is it going to benefit me? No, don't do it. Pretty logical. That's how I like to work on. And any scenario, and if you actually use that and think before you speak and ask yourself the questions, it's amazing. You'll answer it and you'll realize, okay, I won't do that. I won't pounce. I won't comment on this on social media. I'll think before I speak and me comment here. Am I going to benefit from this comment? No, well, don't do it. How I like to roll as well. I think it's pretty important that people understand to ask yourself questions first before you do something.
Absolutely. No, I love that. That's a great takeaway for everyone today. Thank you, Lee.
My pleasure. My pleasure. There's so much stuff I can chat about. I could go for hours and hours, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to simplify everything, get as much as I can in the time that we have.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate that. That's awesome. And obviously we've mentioned in passing, you know, book number 2, you've got book number 2 in your mind already. Have you made a start on it yet, or is that still?
I went full guns blazing now. I reckon I'll be 3/4 through. Yeah, 3/4 through. So yeah, I don't know where on earth all this stuff come from. I just started writing one night and all of a sudden I just went right. And then I'd go probably 3-4 days, I'd be blank. Then all of a sudden I might go to church, someone might say something and I'd run home and start writing. I love that. I love that saying. And then I just roll 3 pages from it. So it's going to be a little bit different. This one's not so much book from start to finish. This one is actually a gratitude journal, but with all the education through it. So it's not just going to be about writing what you're grateful for. The stuff that's got to be put in there is stuff that not one part of it was ever released in the first book. So this is all completely new, just stuff that I put a lot of it on social media at the moment, and I've had a lot of people read it just to get critics on it, and everything was coming back, wow, where did you come up with that? I don't know. It was obviously there. It's just that, you know, you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes you don't know until you actually start having people ask me questions. I love that question. I'm going to go answer it. And that's when I'll go and answer it. And again, it's amazing what you learn from yourself when you actually, as you know, being a writer yourself, there's so much information stored in there. And it'll only come out when someone asks the question. Yeah. A lot of the time, again, we know way more than we know. And when the mind's in a nice, clear peak state, everything's just there ready to go. So, yeah, so I'm just enjoying it. And again, I've got one purpose and one goal from it is to save more lives. That's purely the only reason this thing's getting written. And I believe this is, I love the first one, but this one I'm actually really excited. Before I was excited semi. Now I'm just like, oh my God, this is like next level for me. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah. It's like palpable.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So that's keeping me busy at the moment while my gym's shut down, and you know, obviously I'm at home, so it's keeping me real busy and just crazy things that come into my mind. So it's been I guess the timing's sort of been perfect for me in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really interesting to see how different your process is this time around as well. Like it's, I don't know if I can use the word organic, but it feels like it's much more, you know, like you said, you've got the prompt and then off you go. Like, I already know this, let's go. Yeah,
it's funny you said that actually. Well, the first time I wrote it, I hadn't actually known you back then. When I first got the idea, it would have been 2 years ago. And I hired a ghostwriter. So I actually hired a ghostwriter that was just local in my area. I thought that would be easiest for them to catch up. And at this point, she would actually, the whole book was all my words. I didn't want her to change any words, but we would have chats and she'd record stuff and she'd be typing as I'd be talking. And then she'd send me 10 pages. Then I had to re-edit 10 pages, then to go back. And that's sort of how we went. Whereas this one, because I was such a poor typer the first time. I was still handwriting stuff. Now I'm actually doing all the writing myself. So I'm putting the pen to paper, or typing, I should say, the whole thing myself. So I've obviously learned skills from that. I'm a bit more confident now that I can actually do it. So yes, the process is different. The first time I couldn't have done it without my ghostwriter. She was amazing. But this time now, yeah, I've just taken it on myself and just gone. I'm confident that I can actually write the whole thing. And then I've just got like I don't need a writer for it or an editor. It's more a designer. It's a journal, so there's stuff there's graphic designs and cool stuff that's got to go in it. My mind's not that imaginative. It doesn't do that. The design's not my forte. Yeah. So I'm not afraid to go outside my realms and get someone to help for the part that I don't know. So obviously I've got a professional here. Say So, her name is, from Kylie from Say So. She's so far amazing. So she's doing her part. And then Jennifer Swain also, she's going to do a little bit more editing because I'm going to miss things as well. So it's just, it's just really different. But I've taken a little bit of rain myself this time. And it's going pretty cool.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you can feel the anticipation of, holding it in your hand for the first time.
Oh, it is. And I think it's going to be a little bit off. Yeah, but I gave me a goal this time. We sort of set 4 or 5 month goals. So we're going to push the boundary, and I worked really hard to do it. Whereas the last one took 6, probably 9 months, but it was written in about 3. But things, because of Privacy Acts and stuff like that, we had to keep changing things around. So it took so long to put the whole thing together. And as you know, writing it, to get things to flow, it's not always that easy, but that's where you guys are amazing at. I'm not. I'm not good at the flow side of it. That's where the editors, you guys are fantastic at it.
Yeah, everyone has their strengths, don't they? So, yeah.
That's exactly it. So and I think it's important, if you're going to put something together you're going to be proud of, you know what I mean? Like, I'm doing a lot of stuff now that I didn't before, but there's still people that I need to actually do the bits and pieces to ensure it's going to be what I'm after at the end. So.
Yeah, excellent. And so, having obviously walked the journey to becoming an author before, and now embarking on the journey again, what would be maybe a top tip of yours to people who are maybe still sitting on the fence and they're still in the inspiring author category? They haven't actually taken the leap yet.
Yeah, interesting. I think one, it's, everyone has a story. I believe everyone has a story, and I think it's just a matter of who wants to share it. And the power of a story, as we know, is incredible. And I think when, I've encouraged quite a few clients of mine that I've been counseling, etc., that have phenomenal stories, and they are just amazing people. And I just tell them, it was amazing debrief for myself to actually write a book as well. So I'm thinking for themselves, there's so much in their mind, and it gives them a purpose as well. And I just say, look, you don't have to write the book to be a millionaire. You're writing the book for the sheer fact of, one, there is nothing better than saying that you think you're not worthy, you've got no self-esteem, no self-belief, and all of a sudden you've written a book. Well, you have all of the above now.
Yeah.
So I think it's just the most amazing thing that you can do, and it's fun, and it's going to keep you busy for a good 6 months. So there's a good purpose there to lock people in. I said after I wrote the first one, I am not writing another one because I was running my gym, and I was flat stick, and I was studying counselling, my diploma at the same time, and I was writing at the same time, and just going, oh my God, what are you doing? But anyway, I always said, if I can get through this, my nickname is like legend. I go, I'm taking that status. I'm going to actually take it if I can get through all this. And sure enough, I got it. But what I'm getting to is it taught me, what I'm capable of. So I think that's a good point, that people can understand that. Don't sit back and don't think about it. Just you want to write a book, go write a book. Anyone can write a book. You don't have to be an author. Like, you don't have to be academically brilliant. All you got to do is have a good story, but work with someone, again, like yourself, Roxy. I always advise, even in my field, you want to get a good result, hire a coach. If you want to write a good book, have a good ghostwriter, have a good editor, and that's key. You just can't do it without it. You know what I mean? And that's my opinion, because they're going to have, they're the professionals. You guys are the professionals, not us. We're the amateurs. We have the story, but we need you guys to be able to put the whole book together and make it actually look like a book that flows. So there's so many aspects. So yeah, invest your money. And at the end of the day, like I say, man, money doesn't rule my life. My heart runs my life. If I was to focus on money my whole life, I would not be here, nor would I be talking the way I'm talking now, nor would my purpose be like this. My passion wouldn't be the same because I'll be driven with a dollar sign. Yeah. And people read right through that, and you just can't give that same empathy to people or through your book or through your story, you know, if you're not actually doing it for the right reason. So you've got to, if you want to write, you've got to write for the right reasons as well. And it's pretty important too. So you really got to want to do it. Otherwise, once you start, it's a long journey. A lot of people start and just don't get through to it. You know what I mean? Life's busy. You know what I mean? They just may not get the time. They've got kids, and that's understandable too. So I guess there's no time frame to write a book, is there? Take as long as you...
No, well, and I've run the full gamut with clients that I've worked with. Like I've had some that have come to me fresh off the bat going, I've got an idea, let's go. I've had others that come to me going, oh, look, I started a chapter. I've got one chapter and I wrote it 10 years ago. I need the rest of the book. So,
unreal, but it's it's an amazing journey. And again, I said I wouldn't write the second one, but you know, 6 months later, I literally I'm loving it again. I think I was just burnt out at the time, like actually burnt out, completely burnt out, just run myself completely into the ground. So, but now once I was, you know, you're fresh, you're going again, and yeah, it's just enjoyable. And you know, it gives me something to do when I don't have anything to do. You know, so it keeps me out of trouble. And yeah, it's yeah, I think it's a great thing to you can even say that, you know, you're writing a book, especially if you're a professional and you go do speaking gigs or, you know, you go to a lot of corporate events. And once you're, you know, you're known as you're an author, you have a book, you know, let's be realistic, you're going to get a little bit more credibility. That's just how I look at it. And, you know, if I get introduced as, you know, doing a speaking gig, all of a sudden, you know, you are an author, you are a counsellor, you know what I mean? You work in the mental health world. So there's a lot of things you do. Your resume just looks a little bit better than if I didn't have it. So and then if you're a dual author, well, all of a sudden it just goes up another notch in that as well. So you build confidence because of that. And I think that's important when you're talking to people, meeting people, you want to help people. You know, the more that you achieve, the more confident you get. And I always say that with people, you know, people go, Leo, how can I be happy? You know, you got to have progression, period. Progression equals happiness. So all of a sudden, if you're not progressing in life and you're static, you're not going anywhere, have a look to see how happy you are. I can assure you, you're not going to be peak happy. You're just not going to be. Human beings aren't built that way. The more that we achieve, the more that we learn, that the more progress we make, the happier we are. It's as simple as that. That's why I've gone into number 2. Would there be number 3? At the moment, I'll say no, but of course there will be number 3. Just how it is.
And the C word, confidence, is a great one for authors, but also another of my favorite C words in connection to a book is connection as well. And you mentioned, you know, getting up on the stage and sharing your message, but, you know, you build that extra layer of connection when you've got your books at the back. And then at the end, you're at the back and you're signing and you're meeting the people that your message has really resonated with as well.
It's so powerful, it is. And you know what, and so I'd look back to your probably original question. I encourage everyone that's got the drive, and, you know, if they are sitting on the fence, just do it. Stop thinking. I always tell people, like, more action, stop thinking, just think less. I don't think. I literally, my mind is, look, I think about a lot of things, but I think less, action more. I make a lot of mistakes. I look in my gym here, there's stuff everywhere, and there's so much stuff, and there's so much memories here, and there's some stuff I look at, why did I do that? Why on earth did I build that? Or why did I have that picture taken? Or why did I build this banner? Or why did I do that? And it's because I just take action, and I don't know what's going to work. You don't know what's going to work and what's not going to work. And to me, it's irrelevant. I'm just going, do this and do a podcast then. Did I like it? Yeah, it wasn't my greatest one, but anyway, I did it anyway. I'm not going to sit there and oh, should I? Are people going to like it? Oh, I don't know. And that's the biggest thing I think would hold back people, can be held back with books. They're like, oh, what if no one wants it? Well, what if no one buys it? Well, no one buys it. So what? You wrote a book, mate. You're still an author. Yeah. At the end of the day. So I think you know, learn not to worry about, you know, the response and how it's going to work, and do it for the right reasons. Like I mentioned earlier, I think that's the key method as well. If you do it for the right reasons, you'll just do it and you'll be proud of it either way.
Excellent. No, that's perfect. Thank you so much, Leon.
My pleasure.
Just before we leave everyone, I'd love for you to share how people can get their hands on a copy of It's How You Think, and also to connect with you if they're you know, resonated with your message today.
Yeah, you can find me everywhere. Look, primarily Facebook is my name, Leon Stensholm. I'm very active on there. I actually spend a lot of time talking to anyone and everyone. And it could be, and all the times I put posts out and, you know, I'll always get a good response and I'll get inbox messages and I'll reply to everything. I reply to about 200-300 messages a day. So no one please ever think like, oh, I don't want to annoy him because he's busy, this and that. We're all busy. I'm no busier than anyone else. I just love what I do. So I'm going to reply to every single message. And if I can't help them, I know someone that can help them. So that's it. There's also the website as well, just all the W's, Body by Leon. I'm pretty active on there as well. So there's an email link on there. You can buy the book on there. There's anything and everything on there as well. So yeah, you can find me pretty easily. But Facebook primarily, I live on it all day. Look, just because that's where most of my content goes. And I chat on Messenger all day because I think it's a good tool, that Facebook Messenger, because, you know, emails, you don't always know if people's got your messages, but with Messenger, you can actually see. And and I just like to respond. And so if anyone has any issues, any questions, any thoughts, any suicidal thoughts, mental illness, and they need some help, please reach out. Because again, I'd like to feel that I'm an approachable person, and again, I wear my heart on my sleeve. And if I can't help someone directly, I will know someone that can help them as well.
Yeah, perfect. All right. Thank you so much for your time today, Leon. It was a real pleasure to chat with you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Roxy. Thank you so much. I feel very grateful to be here.
Thank you.